You short-sighted fool.
Yeah, so they're set for the opening event. Blessed Way, the rails runner. Light on, ready. Set to go, away, and they all jump reasonably well. Mr. Impertinent just a bit slow, warned away quickly, so's the stablemate Century Prince. War Hymns dropped out last. Hills of Carome's moving up with Blessed Way to be third and Dundas Lane fifth. Sar River inside Government House, a length the Superior Way, Danita Gold the filly. Then Show 'em Sadie, Latin Roll on the inside, a length and a half Emotional Issue. 2 to 1 the crest is well back through the field with Surveillance, and about 2 lengths away last of all War Hymn, and just in front of it is Mr. Impertinent. 1500 outpace steady, and this should suit the stayers. And Century Prince 2 lengths to Blessed Way. 2 away then to Hills of Carome. Warren's had a beautiful run on the inside, and so's Dundas Lane, a half a length the outside. 1.5 to Government House with Sar River, Superior Way pulling a bit, Latin Rule the fence. 3 wide Show 'em Sadie in the centre, Danita Gold, Emotional Issue the rails. 1.5 on the crest, then Mr. Impertinent, a length and a half to War Hymn. He's the horse with the white cap, and 2 to Surveillance last of all. 1200 metres out, 20 lengths covered them in this, and Century Prince by 2 lengths to Blessed Way. A half length away, Hills of Carome moving up, Dundas Lane improving. Warren's had the run of the race with Greg Hall. A half to Government House improving on the outside. Latin Rules taken to the outside and making a run. Then Sar River, Superior Ways moved up, 2 to Show 'em Sadie, Danita Gold. 1 away, Emotional Issue, hard ridden. War Hymn still second last, Mr. Impertinent in front of it from on the crest, and 2 to Surveillance. 600 out as they start the pack on the turn. Blessed Way about a half length in front of Hills of Carome. Warren quickly comes at them 3 deep. Century Prince beaten from Latin Roll. Then Government House and Dundas Lane very wide from Superior Way. In the straight at the 400, and Hills of Carome led. Dundas Lane's got around Warren to go up and join it. Further back, Government House behind them, and Latin Rule trying to burst through from Century Prince and Superior Way. But Dundas Lane's kicked 2 in front of Government House at the 200. Looks to have it won. Then Superior Way, and further back Century Prince, but it was no fluke at Flemington last time. He's going to do it again this Derby type, and Dundas Lane by 2.5 Government House. Third Superior Way, Century Prince. Danita Gold behind them, Show 'em Sadie. Then Latin Roll on the crest, Mr. Impertinent. Sar River, Emotional Issue, Blessed Way. Warren put in a shocker. Hills of Carome, Surveillance, and War Hymn was very poor to be last. Well, there's a bit of a thought it might have been a fluke, but it certainly wasn't. Dundas Lane has bolted in. He won by so much last time, Ron, that we just questioned whether or not the horses behind him were any good, but they were, because he's won whilst not by the same margin today, almost as easily.
I think we may have underestimated him before that run, Bruce, when he won by 8 lengths. His form was improving, and he beat today a much better field than he accounted for last time. Although he didn't win by 8 lengths today, it was still very convincing.
No doubt about that. Government House, a nice run second. I liked his run, and third, 13, Superior Way. A big improvement today, obviously on the way up. Officially fourth, 7, Century Prince, who's done a particularly good job because he made the pace. And a fifth has gone to number 10, Danita Gold. A nice run for the filly, actually.
It was.
$6.20. Well, what about Latin Rule and Warned from...
Well, unfortunately, Latin Rule hasn't quite made the track.
And $16.60. They're the total on race 1 on the program. Now, on the second event today, the horses to watch.
And they're off and racing. Remuster a little slow to move from the inside. Just another bustled out of the stalls, but the hurdler High Drifter is assuming the early control. Away well as Paris Tram, and also Gold Wire going forward looking for the lead. Trade Line holding his place near the inside, and then Enchanteur. When they head towards the turn out of the straight now, and the leader is High Drifter. Gold Wire went to second, a neck away. Trade Line is third back on the inside, and then a half to Paris Tram, followed by Just Another. 1.5 to Enchanteur, Remuster on the rails, 3/4 Astaman, and then Sir Agrafo, followed by Cativo, second to last, and 2 lengths to Lord Julian. With about 1800 to go, on the riverside, High Drifter the leader, about 3/4 of a length to Gold Wire, and 2 lengths to Trade Line, third, 3/4 Paris Tram. 1 away on the inside, Just Another in the all-white colours of the club, a length and a half Enchanteur, Remuster on the rails. Then came Sir Agrafo, followed by Astaman, third last, followed by Cativo, and last of all is Lord Julian, and he'd be about 12 from the leader. They're inside the 1600, and the leader is High Drifter, 3/4 of a length in front of Gold Wire. 2 lengths back in the third position is Paris Tram, a half length on the inside is Trade Line. 1 away in the all-white at this stage, Just Another, and then Enchanteur. Followed on the rails, Remaster, Sir Agrafo, and then came Asterman third last from Cativo, and 1.5 to Lord Julian. They're inside the 1200 now. Goldwire went to the lead from High Drifter. About a length to Paris Tram, who's always been third. Enchanteur's improving around the outside, going with it just another. Trade Line now snookered on the inside rail with 1,000 to go. Remaster passing him. High Drifter's falling back on top of Trade Line. Going up Sir Agrafo, and then Lord Julian taken away from the rails. Cativo just in front of him as they bunch up, and Asterman towards the tail. Only about 6 or 7 lengths covers the field. When they sweep down to the turn, 6.50 to go, and Goldwire is a narrow leader. Enchanteur is moved up into second placing on the outside, and they're followed then by Remaster, Sir Agrafo. Cativo off the track is starting to sprint home very solidly, and they're followed then by Trade Line getting up near the inside with Paris Tram. Wide across the track now at the 400 where Cativo raced up to go to the lead. Enchanteur challenging, and Lord Julian pulled to the outside. Paris Tram on the rails, Asterman running on. Cativo at the 250, leading by 2 lengths to Asterman, Lord Julian and Paris Tram. It's Cativo in front with 150 to go. Still by 2 lengths under the whip from Lord Julian. On the outside, Asterman and Paris Tram, but Cativo is far too good, and Cativo wins again by 2 lengths. Second is Lord Julian, third is Asterman in front of Trade Line. Then Paris Tram breaking the field to Sir Agrafo and Remaster. Then came just another. Enchanteur. Goldwire is second last, and last is High Drifter. Winner of the second on the program, back-to-back wins for number 2, Cativo, ridden by M. Clark. The favourite is first, again beating number 9, Lord Julian, so it's the Caulfield Quinella yet again. And third placing goes to number 8, Asterman, ridden by Wayne Trelaw. The numbers are 2, 9 and 8. Cativo took a long time to win her first race here, but now she's broken through. She makes it 2 in a row. A 4-length win at Caulfield, and she's beaten him today by about 2 lengths. Third, Asterman, battling on pretty well. Fourth in was Trade Line. He lost his place before the turn. I reckon that was a pretty good run, Trade Line. And he might be pretty hard to beat when he next steps out in similar company. And fifth was Paris Tram. Got up near the inside before the home turn and battled away fairly well.
$1.15, Asterman $1.90, Quinella $5.35, and the trifecta paid $110.90. So they're the dividends after the second event on the program. The third today, of course, no horses to watch here because the baby's having their first start. 19 running.
Because there are some very well-bred horses in the race.
Well, they're all set. Now, Prince of the City's on the outside, Raw Edge next to it. The inside is Norwin Hunter. Racing. Prince of the City ran in and interfered with Raw Edge and also Run Right. They all came together. Single shot missed it. Brittany Bay away well. Browns Ferry, the favourite, showing speed. Bravado tucked in behind it with also King Nargis. Underwood's coming towards the outside, and on the inside in the all-white Pros Master in the centre, Subsonic inside of it. Going quickly early, Lord Tiamo, and it's up near the lead actually, Lord Tiamo, with King Pug and also Courageous Cossack. Just behind them, King Demas going through with Paducah's Hope, Norwin Hunter beaten for speed, and Sumatomo's about a length off the lead. On the outside, it's Raw Edge just in front of Prince of the City and Run Right. There two to Bravado. Browns Ferry struggling a bit. Lord Tiamo in front on the inside. But the outside well clear. Run Right and Prince of the City have got it between them. Prince of the City's very green and Run Right's going to win. Draws away about a length to Prince of the City. Close for third between Raw Edge and the stablemate Underwood. Then Bravado and behind them Lord Tiamo. Further back in the field was Single Shot with also King Nargis. Next home would have been Browns Ferry, Brittany Bay, Paducah's Hope on the fence with Subsonic King Pug, Norwin Hunter King Demas, one of the last to finish Wickham, and back with them Pros Master. Stand by for placings, but Run Right will get it. Number 15A Cooper went a lot straighter than the other one in the go to the line, Prince of the City. Gee, it was green. Viv, Prince of the City.
Yeah, it was grey. I also noticed the one of Rick Corlate's, Raw Edge, was racing with the head a little bit on one side. That's usually greenness in the sign when they're little.
15, 12, 14 after the third. They're official. So Raw Edge has hung on to beat the stablemate who's flashed home Underwood for third. And officially fifth King Nargis. It's a stablemate of Bravado. The only difference in the colours was that King Nargis had a red cap, and in fact the boy lost his cap on King Nargis. Was pretty hard to tell the difference between it and Bravado, I can tell you. But there's Run Right, probably giving Prince of the City a half a length at this stage with Roaridge in the centre. And what I'd really like to see after this is the start again when Prince of the City runs in very badly. He gave Pat Hyland a terrifically hard ride. But Viv, about here, there's not much in it. But when Hyland goes for Prince of the City now, he's forced to go for the whip. Watch, he has to stop. And, of course, it's hanging in badly.
It's hung in badly. So Rick Orlais is runner in third place, and he mentioned that the horse had boils during the week, so I wonder if it was perhaps hurting his mouth a little bit, making him just turn the head a little bit.
Outside clearly in front, as you can see. Lord Tiamo leading them up on the inside. It's finished about 6th. But Run Right successful. He's by Straight Strike. I think it's a new season sire, actually, from Leolani. Is raced by the Manses and trained by Greg Mance at Flemington's. Had good success, ridden by A. Cooper. Straight Strike, I think it's a new season sire.
It's one I don't know much about.
Rather. Prince of the City, $1.15, and Roaridge, $2.05. It won't be a massive trifecta because all those horses had form. But Brown's Ferry, who probably run favourite, never really got into the race, I didn't think. 37.05 on 15, 12, 14. The horse to watch in the next, I think, is Bataan. First up, he was in the Ascot. And they're getting set for a start. Getting a bit murky through the binoculars, as you can see on the screen there. Light on. Ready, away they go. Lord Delamere away all right. Mr. Moe a bit slow, but he can do that. He's out near the back with Lord Delamere and over time early. World Famous going fast with Wild Rampage and Devon Duke and Batan's in a nice posse early. Then Breesley moving up to be 5th, just behind them over time with Silver Shark, Mr. Moe, Missouri. Sea Swirls back second last on settling down. Ravener in front of it, Lord Delamere. Well, Harry's gone mad on this World Famous. Dashed away 2.5 to Devon Duke. About 1.5 lengths to Wild Rampage. Bataan nice and handy 4th from Breesley. 1 to Mr. Moe, a length away then to Silver Shark. About 1/2 length into Ivor Time. Sea Swirl back with it on the inside of it, and then Ravener, and 1.5 lengths to Lord Delamere and Missouri trapped a bit deep. Before the turn at the 600, World Famous 1.5 lengths. Wild Rampage is going well. 2 to Bataan, moving up on the outside of Devon Duke, 1.5 lengths to Mr. Moe, and then Sea Swell into the straight. Wild Rampage, Bataan make their runs together, and Sea Swell's about to join them with World Famous Mr. Moe. Wild Rampage goes for home at the 300 and kicked away. 1.5 lengths Bataan, Sea Swell, Silver Shark, and then Ravener. Wild Rampage at the 200, he's got a good lead. Sea Swell under the whip from Bataan and Ravener, but Wild Rampage has got it, won another for Hazen Clark. Sea Swell second, Ravener, and Silver Shark running on, but Wild Rampage a good trial for the Caulfield Guineas. Second Sea Swell, then Ravener behind them, Silver Shark. Bataan, probably the weight stopped him. Then Breesley, Mr. Moe, Missouri, Lord Delamere, Ivor Time, World Famous, and Devon Duke. Well, Des, he's a good horse, this bloke. You see a lot of him.
Yes, I do. Yes, he's a pretty good sort of a horse, and he's really come along and confirmed the good impression that he had at or he showed at Caulfield with a very good win, and today it was an excellent victory, going up in distance again to 1400. So can't take anything away from that effort. He's a very nice sort of a horse. And did you say somebody said he wasn't looking all that well, or he was looking
One
well?
of our good judges from Channel 10 didn't like the look of him in the yard so much.
Yes. But put the money on it just the same. I think that was a throw-off. You know, you can't... These punters, they take some keeping up with, you know. But anyway, it was a good win.
3-2-8. I said Harry's gone mad on World Famous. Of course, Harry wasn't the one going mad. It was me. It was Kevin Forrest on World Famous. Harry was on Devon Duke. He was behind him.
Anyway,
today.
Yeah.
So 3-2-8, 205 and 75. Sea Swell 80. Ravener $1.25. 4th was Silver Shark. A nice run from double today. Colin Haysway 2 and 3. Cativo Wild Rampage $4.95. Quinella 270. Trifecta $51.30. Now for one of the big ones of the day, the Turnbull Stakes, a couple of horses...
Anywhere else but Royal Randwick Racecourse on a day like this for the running of the $225,000 Spring Champion Stakes. A great race. Drought hasn't started for 3 weeks. That seems to be worrying a few people, but looking at him going to the barrier, he looks every bit as fit as the day he won the Gloaming Stakes at Rose Hill in such great fashion. Ray, in crossing down to you, I was just thinking what a thankless task it is for jockey Johnny Marshall when you're riding a horse like Drought at long odds on. If he wins, everybody expects it. If he gets beaten, you're a mug. Not a good spot to be in.
Certainly not, Tappy, but Marshall's very, very confident, and so he should be. Gallery level 11-1, Drought 6-4 on the boss's horse. In the ring, 7-4 on. Tristram 25s, Imperial Majesty 11-2. Here's Tappy.
Okay, Ray, we sure did cut that fine. They're off and running in the Champion Stakes, and dropping to the tail of the field is Hayter Prince. Dandy Andy bounded out in front and led early. Nobody wants to be in front. Now Drought's up running about 5th in the early part, cluttered between horses, but he settles beautifully despite the slow pace. He must be a lovely horse to ride. Now it's Imprimatur taking over and going to the lead over the crossing at the 1600. Moving to second, Tristram on the outside. He's pulling double and won't settle. On the rails, Our Henry, followed closely by Robbie and Steele on the outside of Dandy Andy. Imperial Majesty won't settle. He's ripping and reefing, and there's Big Zapple going around the outside. Drought got shuffled back, but he couldn't care less. Drought, he's just lobbing along off the bit. At the head of the others, Gallery Level, and then Hayter Prince and Attatari and Urbane is back at the tail as they make their way to the top turn. And Imprimatur sped up just a shade, led by a length and a half to Our Henry. Tristram is running third, followed by Dandy Andy, Robbie and Steele on the outside. Further back in the field, Gallery Level, followed by Big Zapple, and Drought is racing in the running line, one horse off the rail. Hayter Prince about to move up in the yellow colours. He's going up to try and put Drought in a pocket. At the head of the others, Imperial Majesty, followed by Attatari and Urbane, and about 8 lengths covers the Champion Stakes field at the 800 mark, and Imprimatur is the leader. Our Henry second, Tristram third, whipping around them, wide out Hayter Prince, and then Robbie and Steele, Dandy Andy, followed by Big Zapple. Drought's running 7th, only 5 lengths off the lead as they near the turn. He's in between horses coming around the corner, followed by Gallery Level, Imperial Majesty and Urbane, and Attatari is last of all as they turn the corner. Into the straight now, Marshall starting to angle his way out into the clear on the long striding Drought, who's still about 5 lengths off the lead. Imprimatur going strongly as they come to the 200. He's kicked away clear of Tristram. Here comes the big boy. Drought is taking a while to wind up, but now he's starting to hit top gear, and look at him go. Drought with giant strides is going after Imprimatur. Imprimatur's in front. Drought might be dying on his run. He can't quite pick him up out in a boil over. Imprimatur won the Champion Stakes a half length to Drought. Third is Tristram, followed by Our Henry, Dandy Andy, Attatari, Imperial Majesty, never in the race, and then Big Zapple, Robbie and Steele, Gallery Level, followed by Urbane, and Hayter Prince is last in the Champion Stakes of 86. I wonder if his run just petered out, because he was going strongly enough. He was going fast enough 100 metres out to still overhaul that leader. As you saw, he must have taken 4 to 4.5 lengths off the leader between the 300 and, say, 100 metres from home. He was going fast enough to get to Imprimatur if he could sustain that burst. Now, I just got the feeling, and I'll be very interested to hear what Johnny Marshall says, that I don't think the leader kicked at all, Imprimatur. He just kept batting away at the same speed. Drought made up 4 to 4.5 lengths on him, got to his girth, and then just couldn't go any better. I wonder if that 3-week gap between races made the difference. Time will tell. Imprimatur in a boil over has won the Champion Stakes, ridden by mighty Mal Johnston, and continuing a freakish run of success that Malcolm's having at the moment. In fact, he leads the Jockeys Premiership. That takes him to 21 wins for the season, 3 ahead of Jim Cassidy and 4 ahead of John Marshall. Malcolm Johnston, who doesn't have connections with any of the leading stables, has done a remarkable job to ride 21 winners since the season began. The numbers are up now, 8-2-3, 8-2-3, Imprimatur, Drought and Tristram. Now from this angle, look at Drought. He's closing quickly on Imprimatur, but he gets to about there, and for a few strides he just didn't seem to make any more ground on the leader. Tristram ran a very good race to get third because he pulled very hard early, and he must have taken something out of himself, so he did well to battle on for third. Gee, you wouldn't know Mal's just won the Champion Stakes. Smile, Malcolm. What's up with you? Smile, boy. Imprimatur, trained by Dr. Jeff Chapman, raced by Mr. and Mrs. J. Denoon, S. Brem, M.T. Brown, and H. Ladowski in partnership. Imprimatur's a chestnut colt by Imposing out of Calera. All right, Kenny Callender with his thoughts on one of the most open Epsom handicaps in many years.
What an even field it is for the running of the 1986 Epsom handicap. Well, my tip's the favourite, Periscope. I don't like tipping favourites in big races, but by golly, I've got a good opinion of Periscope. I think he's just below top draw, and I think this preparation, he can even get to weight for age class. At his last start, he finished second at Rosehill in the Shannon Quality to Drawn, And I think he would have beaten Drawn only for Tierra Wrist coming out and giving him a couple of bumps in the home straight. That run had improved Periscope tremendously. I'm told he's worked very well at Rosehill during the week. And with jockey Jim Cassidy aboard, you don't need much more. It's a Brian Mayfield-Smith trained Periscope to be first home in the Epsom. And I think the best roughie, another Mayfield-Smith horse. Fix the date.
Good on you, Ken. Oh, gee, it's a hard race, but Ken has given plenty of good reasons why Periscope can win. We'll find out all about the Epsom handicap at around about 3:15 on Wide World of Sports.
And extra double all to come. Let's go down and join Phil in the mounting yard for race 5, the trifecta 51.30. Now, in this, it's about 7 to 1 the field, with Always Summer favourite at $6 Black Knight, Dark Intruder $5.95, $6.55 for Great Estate, Our Sophia $3.50, $6.70 for Playful Princess, Alternate $8.80.
3 to go.
Just 3 to come up here for the Turnbull, and $4.30 for number 10 Jewel Planet, and $5.05 for Just Now, and Always Summer 15 at $3.80. So on the tote, number 5 Our Sophia the favourite, just in front of Always Summer. Des Spain, it's a big betting race, this.
Yes, it's an open betting race, and if you can fluke the winner, you're going to get a good result.
Black Knight's out to 14 to 1.
Yeah, tricky race, very tricky.
Starter comes to the platform. Lasers Fury and Farristan about to come up. Always a fair guy to the Cups this race. We've had some wonderful horses win it. Dulcifying, Galilee, a couple. Last year, Lack of Reason beat Our Sophia and Glen Morriston. Sophie and Glen Morriston back again. Light on. Ready. One of the big ones. A Turnbull. Away they go. Missing it just a bit, Dark Intruder with Jewel Planet and Playful Princess. Our Sophia away okay. Black Charleston in his normal position in front. Sea Legend began well with Great Estate and Lasers Fury. Glen Morrison on the fence, Dark Intruder recovering. Then Samara from Alternate and Always Summer in that group of horses. Jewel Planet's back about midfield. Our Sophia the inside from Farristan. Playful Princess 3 deep. Black Knight the centre. Then Globetrotter, or 2 or 3 lengths away. Last of all is Just Now. Well, Black Charleston, no tearaway tactics today. About a half to Sea Legend at the 1400. 3 wide Great Estate, then Dark Intruder, Lasers Fury and Samara out very deep. A length further back then to Always Summer. Glen Morrison's just in front of those from Jewel Planet off the fence. Wider still on the track is Farristan going around them, and also Alternators right off the track in a bunch field. Further back on the field behind them, Globetrotter with Our Sophia. One of the last is Black Knight, and last of all is Just Now. Going past 1,000, Black Charleston just led Sea Legend, Great Estate. A length further back, Glen Morrison on the fence, Dark Intruder, Lasers Fury and Samara. Alternate taking off from Farristan, Always Summer. Around the outside, Our Sophia and Playful Princess, and Farristan from Just Now. Always Summer's got back the second last, and Globetrotter's last of all. 600 from home. Black Charleston, Sea Legend goes up and joins it. Great Estate 3 deep, Glen Morrison 4 deep, Samara 5 deep on the turn. Alternate tucked in behind them as they come to the bend. Then Lasers Fury and Farristan trying to thread his way through. Further out Just Now and Our Sophia. 3:50 to go. Samara's taken the lead. Farristan out after it from Sea Legend, Alternate. Then Playful Princess Just Now starting to run on from Black Knight. Samara and Farristan at the 2:50. Just Now's running on strongly out deep. It's Farristan kicking clear. Just Now's going to be the challenger. Then Samara. Farristan's about a half to Just Now. Harry throws everything at Just Now. Farristan, Just Now. They hit it, I reckon. Just Now, maybe a nose. It's nearly a dead heat. Just Now, Farristan. Close for third. Sea Legend, Samara. Maybe Samara. Then Alternate. A gap, Black Knight, Our Sophia. Jewel Planet, Playful Princess, Always Summer, Globetrotter. Further back, Dark Intruder. In that group of horses, Lasers Fury, Black Charleston with Great Estate and Glen Morriston.
Over the head, Bruce.
Yeah, Desi, I reckon she might have got up.
I think she might. No, I do.
I think she's got up just now.
I thought she might have just made it.
It was a fantastic trial for the Cup, wasn't it?
There you are, number 11's won it.
Number 11 has won the race, and that's Just Now, H. White, in a great finish. Well, that's a different angle to the one we look at. You can see there she has got up, but from here with the rail out, it looked like she'd failed by about a head, but we always give them a bit extra, which means that we put her up. And
well, she's made sort of about a length on the last from that 2,400 metre mark, which is about a third of a furlong home, or just a bit over, but she's really settled down to her task, and in her customary position in the race, she was out last. And there she is. She's made the turn probably a bit wide. I wasn't quite aware where she's come from, but she's in the centre of the track there now. And Faristan in the all-white has gone to the lead from Simara, who nearly parcelled it up at the top of the straight, but now Harry's got down and it takes a bit to outride him, and Craig Dinn riding vigorously with the whip on Faristan. There's well and truly a half length in front there. Now they're getting together. It's about 40 yards from home, and now Harry's just got there. Just got there. It was about in the end it'll be a head, I suppose.
Terrific finish, and well, bookmakers will react savagely to that. Just Now will shorten right up for the Foster's Melbourne Cup and probably the Caulfield Cup, Des.
Yes.
She will come right into the market. She won the Princess Handicap AJC Oaks double as a 3-year-old filly in the autumn in Sydney. Went up to Queensland and was surprisingly beaten in the Oaks. She was 3-1 on in favour. I saw her win a race at Doomben one day and she was most impressive. First up this time in, she won and then went to Sydney and was a bit disappointing, but we'd read the story where she'd been eating the hay in her barn. Trainer didn't think it was
making
doing her...
hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, well, she...
while the midnight oil burns.
They put the shavings down and got rid of the hay, and Just Now has come right back to her best. Samara, a great run, the South Australian Oaks winner.
Yeah.
She's gone past... The Sea Legend on the fence behind them was a very good run. Faristan, Dinn's ride was absolutely superb.
Yep.
He threaded his way through, and right now at the distance, 200 from home, Craig must have thought I'm home, but here comes Harry on Just Now.
And Harry will not give up. And away they go together, and Just Now is a magnificent finisher in a race, and this is exactly, you've got to ride it to perfection, and Harry White was more or less a one-off today, because I think Darren Gauchi's committed, or not committed, but he's already engaged to ride this horse in Victoria, where Bruce Compton had the rides in Sydney and Brisbane. So Harry's just lifted it over the line and made it a lucky win for him. I believe someone was speaking to Harry earlier and he said, well, if Just Now can't win today on the weights, I don't know the weights, but on the weights, he said if she can't win today, she's got little hope in the Cup. So she's vindicated that part of her story anyway.
Faristan, a very good run, second, number 13, as Harry is pretty happy. And third, Samara, an excellent run, officially fourth, 14. Sea Legend and I7 an alternate fifth, his usual run. 5, 10 and 190. Faristan 270, Samara 360. 11, 13 and 16. It's going to be a pretty good trifecta after the Turnbull Stakes. Sophie Dale 14.55, Mr. Bourbon Boy 360. Correct weight in Melbourne, 11, 13, 16. So Mr. Bourbon Boy from New Zealand 360. 7.90 for Colour Page. Number 6 Shankul Lass at 4.50. Number 7 Dinky Flyer 3.95. 8 Taj Quille the Buck, Cummings trained 4.05. 9 Romanata 7.95. Periscope 3.45 is favourite. 6.20 for 11 Avanotto from the Noel Kelly Sable. Then 12 is 11.15 for Zip Home. Down to 14 Swift Cheval at $5.20, and 16 Mark Chiquita, surprisingly big odds, 11.10. So Periscope the favourite on the Epsom. Got some great racing coming up and some interviews after this break. And Samara at $3.60, 11, 13 and 16. The next race is a Rupert Steele Stakes, one of the highlights of the day.